Hey everybody, it's Chad Taylor with the Vegas Podcast, and today I have with me Izzy, Collett. And if you've ever came to Las Vegas and wondered what was just outside of the city or what secrets hide behind the mountains here, you're about to find out.
Yes, we do have a few secrets hidden away in little spots.
Izzy, how are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
Thank you so much for coming on.
Of course. Thanks for having me. I've been excited. So
You're probably one of three that I know that there's not a question I couldn't ask you that you wouldn't have the answer.
well, I would make one up if I didn't know. No, I'm just kidding.
Which is exactly why we did this, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to get into Desert Adventures, which is
Okay.
your company, right?
Yes.
But before we get into that, I want to know a little bit about Izzy because I have always had questions. So number one, where did you grow up, Iz?
Oh, I grew up in a little town in Utah.
Okay.
It's tiny. There were about, it's called Salina, Utah.
Salina,
Do you
Utah.
know where it is? Not
No.
many people do.
No.
So if you were to look at a map geographically, it's kind of like put your finger right in the middle. But it's a small town. We had a school that, our school had probably only 200 or so, 250 kids in it. My graduating class had 52.
Okay.
So it was tiny. There was probably like 1,600 people, and that included some people from like little neighboring towns.
Right.
It was real tiny. Farming community, coal miners, that kind of stuff.
Salina.
Salina, yeah.
Wow. And is it still that size?
It's pretty small, yeah. It's tiny.
Oh,
I
right.
mean, maybe 2,000 people.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
And
small.
so that's probably about a 6-7 hour drive from here? 5?
Probably like maybe 4 and
Oh.
4.5, 5
Okay, so
maybe.
not too far.
Yeah.
You still go
It's-
back home?
I don't have any family members there anymore, so I don't visit much. I don't get back there much. Yeah,
Okay.
I go to Utah all the time because I grew up there, and it's
Yeah. The canyons, Bryce
yeah,
Canyon,
and it's
the rest of it.
the outdoor. Like it's a great outdoor state, but yeah.
Right.
So I go there a lot to do things, but
Okay.
yeah, I
Haven't been
don't
back there.
I don't go to my hometown much.
So grew up in Utah.
Yes,
Where'd you go next?
I went to Phoenix for a little while, and then I moved to Albuquerque for a few years.
Okay.
I worked in the restaurant business for a long time in my life.
Ah.
And other odd jobs here and there, but mostly the restaurant business. And lived in Albuquerque for a little while, opened some restaurants, and then moved to Vegas. And then it was kind of close because I have family in St. George, so that's only like just a couple hours from here.
Right.
So ended up staying
So West Coast for the most part.
Southwest even. Yeah.
Yeah, Southwest.
Yep.
All right. Have you been up to the Pacific Northwest just to have fun or travel at all?
Yeah. I've
Is it-
traveled up there.
Is it not beautiful?
It's awesome up
Oh,
there.
it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
We have some properties up there. Phenomenal.
Oh, yeah. It's beautiful.
All right. So Southern, so you kind of are a desert rat because New Mexico,
Yes.
Arizona, Las Vegas, you're a desert rat. All right.
I am.
So you landed ultimately at some point in Las Vegas here or Henderson, you said?
So when I first moved here, I moved to Henderson.
Okay.
I lived a few places in the Valley, Summerlin area, which was really nice. And then I was guiding a lot on the river. So we ended up, I mean, it's a bit of a drive and we have, as you know, early mornings.
Right.
And so the drive was just not conducive to getting up at 3:00 every day to go to work. So we ended up moving to Boulder City just because it was closer to my work and it worked out.
Got it. And you're currently now in Boulder City.
Yes, I've lived there ever since we moved there. So I haven't ever left because I love it. It's a small town.
And
it's
how
awesome.
many years ago was that you moved into Boulder City?
Oh, man. Mid-90s, maybe?
Really?
Yeah.
You don't look a day over 30, so I'm not sure how that
You're
happened.
so sweet. You're so sweet.
Serious.
Thank you.
Okay, so you've been in Boulder City a long time.
Yeah.
What do they call the Hoover Dam? The people that
You're
were there.
quizzing me?
Yeah, no, the people that built the dam. They lived. There were still some of them that were still alive. There was like a name for them.
The 31ers.
The 31ers. See, I
Yeah.
knew you'd know the answer.
Yep.
So the 31ers, and I think is the last one still alive, or
No,
they all
I
passed
think-
now?
Well, don't. Yeah,
Not
I
sure.
should probably say I'm not sure.
Okay,
But
fair
I
enough.
think they might have all passed away.
Okay,
If not, there's probably only one left.
got it.
Yeah.
All right. So Boulder City is a beautiful little town.
Yeah.
So you're in Boulder City. So you said you were working in Henderson. So
Yeah.
you grew up, you landed here quite a few years ago.
Yes.
You were working in corporate America, essentially, I assume, or
Yeah,
at a job here in
I
town?
worked for a restaurant corporation for most of my life, and I did, I mean, anything that you could do in a restaurant corporation, wash dishes, bartend, cook, manage. corporate trainer, travel all over the country, open other restaurants that are the same, set them
Okay.
up the same, help hire, help train, then move on to the next one. And if anyone has ever worked in restaurants, it's a really fast-paced lifestyle
Yeah.
and fast and furious and
Grind.
yes.
There just came a day when you're like, yep,
it's
no
fun,
more.
but I think there's a lifespan to it. It's definitely for young people. I
Yes.
mean, I'm not saying that older people don't work in restaurants because obviously they do and it's good
Right.
money, but the fast and furious part is definitely for the younger
younger generation.
crowd.
I agree with
think
you.
I grew up a little and it just got tiring and
Yep.
late hours, sleep till noon, don't get off work till 3 a.m. I just wanted to change.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there comes a time you're here in Las Vegas. It's time for a change. And I think this is where the magic happens. You decide to get a job somewhere else.
Yeah, well, so when we first moved, I'll back up just a little.
Yeah.
When I first moved to Vegas, I came from Utah, a state with so much diversity as far as like outdoors go, deserts, mountains, snow, pine
Right.
trees, deserts. So when I first came here, I had never been really to Vegas much. I think I'd visited one time. And so I tried to start doing stuff outside, and I really didn't like it here. I thought it was ugly. I thought the desert was ugly. There were no trees. It was brown. There was nothing to do. And I was getting mad. And so the person I was living with at the time was like, you need to go find some job that you love that's outside, that like do some research and find some place you want to work. So I did. And I decided I want to buy a kayak. I found out there was a lake that some people that live here don't even know
Still
about.
don't even know.
Yes, it was the biggest lake in the U.S., man-made lake.
Yep.
I found out it was here, and I want to buy a kayak. But at the time, this might shock you, there were no places to buy kayaks here. You had to go to Arizona, California, or Washington. So I actually bought my first kayak in Washington.
Get out of here.
I drove all the way up there to get it. Yes. And then but in the meantime, the whole point of the story is that while I was searching for some place to buy a kayak, I found this little shop in Boulder City that rented kayaks. And so I went there to see if I could buy one, and I ended up with a job. That's basically what happened.
So you had to buy a kayak and you ended up getting a job.
Yes,
okay.
as a river guide.
And just so everybody knows, Boulder City is kind of like Las Vegas's backyard, or our playground, as I would call it.
Yes.
Right? Anything we want to do is near Hoover Dam or around Lake Mead, Lake Mojave. So that's Boulder City. So you end up in Boulder City. You end up going to buy a kayak,
Yeah.
a job.
Yeah, we just started chatting about things, looking at kayaks. And
What are
we
you doing
started
as a job?
For the company I got hired for. So they hired me as a river guide. Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. So they were just starting to do river tours before it was a rental company, but they were just starting to do guided tours. And so, yeah, that was my first job. It was the original kayak company in Boulder City. And
Do you remember the
I
name of
worked
it?
there. Yeah, it was called Boulder City Outfitters. Previously from that, it was Downriver Outfitters. It was the same company, but they just changed their name to try and like expand their marketing reach.
Right.
Because they ended up doing some more things. But yeah, so I worked there for almost 10 years, and then some things happened, and I decided I was kind of at a crossroads in my life, and I was like, well, it was during the whole real estate boom in Vegas where you would put your house on the market and people would have bidding wars.
2003 to 2006.
Yeah,
2000,
somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And it was right around 2004 for me. But and so we had a house and we made a lot of money on it. And so I had some money banked away, and I was like, at the time I quit another corporate job, which I just decided I couldn't be in corporate America anymore. So I quit, and I just decided I have this money from this house. So what should I do? I can go hike the Appalachian Trail for 6 months. I can start a river company, or I can go back to school, or I can start a photography business. Like I had all these things I was trying to figure out what to do. And yeah, I just decided I wanted to start my own company. So
You did. And
I
so
did.
then it was born.
Yep. That's basically what happened. Like I was working for this other company. I decided I wanted to buy into it actually. And I talked to the owner, and he was just kind of like, no way. I don't want any partners. And
Right.
no,
Fair enough.
Basically he said no.
Yeah.
And bullet points, So I said, well, I wanted to be honest, I didn't want to, I felt loyal to him. He had helped raise me as a river guide, but but I felt like we were at a point where we needed some more things. And anyway, so I talked to him about it. I had an honest conversation. It was really hard. I was young, so it was hard to have like an honest conversation like that by myself, no one holding my hands. And I told him, this is what I want to do. And basically, when he said he didn't want any partners, I said, okay, well, I just want you to know that this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
So
this is
I'm
happening.
literally going to go down the street and do the same thing if you don't want any partners.
And there you have it.
Yeah.
It's born, which is okay. It's called capitalism. That's why we live in America. And trust me, especially in my world and in hospitality, you get with a good company. We train everybody to be, people come in and they're new or they're green, and you train them. You got a good company, you got good policies, procedures, training, schooling. And then as soon as they get it, they leave. Well, some other company comes and scouts them off, right? For us, luckily, they don't all go out and start a new 107-year-old company, but
yes,
but they go off. Someone scouts them, so that happens all the time, and it's okay. It's fantastic.
It's fine.
So
I feel like I'm kind of in the business, and you are too, in the business of raising other people sometimes.
Yeah.
And in a way, we're raising people in a way.
It's part of their journey.
Yeah,
and we get to be part of that.
And someone raised me.
Yes. So what do you name it?
So a little backstory there is that I did have a partner when we started because I was young and didn't. I honestly, the reason I had a partner is because I didn't think I could navigate the red tape of our federal agency partners.
Right.
Because I just didn't know enough about it. And in hindsight, I easily could have done it myself, but I just was too green at the time.
So fear.
So I got a partner. I approached someone, and so it was already named Desert Adventures. And so it was in the first year of it being formed, and he had named it that. So that's the name of the company. Yeah.
Desert Adventures.
Desert Adventures.
So back to that. So do you know the acronym for fear?
No. Tell me.
And this will make sense to you now. False evidence appearing real.
Yes,
You've heard it before, right? So when you're young, you don't know, and it really is false evidence because you don't know, and it's just what you don't know keeps you from doing things a certain way, so you make different decisions. And then as you get older, you look back. So I think that's very unique when you look back, and that's why we mentor. That's why we mentor people.
It was kind of a hard lesson to learn,
yes.
honestly, because
yes,
he was somewhat of a silent partner.
Yeah.
I mean, not initially, but as time went on, he went back to his career job.
Original stuff, yeah.
And so we were only really partners for maybe a few years, maybe just 2 or 3 years. And then he went back he's a commercial pilot, so he went back to flying full time.
Nice.
And so then you build up a business, and then when it comes time to buy it, you kind of shot yourself in the foot a little,
I'll give you half of the company. It's no problem. My wife knows all about that.
Well, I built it. Now
yeah.
it's worth this, but I'll pay you what I built. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like, it's okay. We needed each other at the time.
Yes.
I mean, I couldn't have done it at that moment in my life without him.
Correct.
And so I appreciate it. And,
yes.
But I mean,
it's
kind of, in hindsight, is a little hard lesson to learn.
You don't see him. You are pretty darn independent, and it's 100% yours now, right?
Yes.
Desert Adventures is yours. How many?
Years.
So let's talk. So I know a little bit more about you now that I wanted to know. So that's good because it gives me a little backstory, and it reminds me why we're both not in food and beverage anymore at all.
Yes.
Working the Red Robin, making better Cheddar Bay biscuits all day long, drinking
Red
Diet
Robin
Coke.
is good though. I do like Red Robin.
Red Lobster, and Red Robin.
Red Lobster's good too.
Yeah. So Desert Adventures, you are a kayak outfitter in the state of Nevada that operates out of Boulder City, but picks up a majority of your guests from the Las Vegas Strip. Would that be correct?
Our guided guests, yes.
Your guided guests.
Yes.
How much of your business would you say is Las Vegas locals compared to tourism?
Ooh, that's a really good question. So before the pandemic, I would say 50-50.
Okay.
But since the 50, well, no, that's not really accurate. I would say, well, it might be close, 50-50. We'll just say 50-50. But it's really swung towards locals more since the pandemic.
Get out of here. That makes me even happier, actually,
Yeah.
because I was afraid that, I see a lot of tourists coming out there and just grabbing a paddlecraft and booking it and getting a tour down the river, but locals are picking up. Great. This is fantastic. Okay. So I think it's a pleasant thing for locals to do. It's one of the most pleasant and one of the most cost effective when you go talk about like outdoor rec activities and some experience that you won't have. So explain to me what it looks like for Desert Adventures. You advertise online, you have a booking engine, you do marketing. Someone calls your company and they say, I want to go experience the Black Canyon. Do they know it by name?
Not usually. They usually say, so our friends did this cool thing and we want to do it. And we're like, what did they do? And they say, I don't know. They did some kayaking thing. They just said it was a lot of fun. Awesome. But we offer a lot of tours. So then we have to, dig a little to get some more information. Right. And then we try and fit them on the right tour. So, yeah.
Which that digging and those questions and that customer service is probably why people choose you so much. It's a good thing because you ask the right questions.
They'll talk to real humans. And we try to, we have a lot of different tours. And so we try to really screen people and put them in the correct, on the correct trip so that they have a nice experience. Because if they're if they're not fitted to the trip, like they were wanting something leisurely and we put them on a strenuous paddling trip, then so we try and fit them appropriately. And there's different trips for families and small kids and different trips for, really fit athletes, and just depends on what you're looking for.
Really? Okay. So let's walk through that real quick.
Okay.
So you run a kayak tour that will launch at the base of Hoover Dam.
Yes.
Or it will launch out of Willow Beach. So you can go bottom up and top down?
We launch at the bottom of the Hoover Dam, which is pretty cool in itself.
Yes.
Like, it's not open to the public, right? So the only way to experience that view is to come either on the rafting trips or the kayak trips or canoeing or something like that. And then we can put in at Willow Beach as well. And we also operate lower than that. So like down by El Dorado Canyon, the Nelson area,
really,
all the way to Catherine Landing, and then we operate on Lake Mead too. So there's several places we can launch on Lake Mead.
Okay, great. So if somebody wants to get out on the lake or on the river in a kayak, you're the one that they call.
That would be great.
Got it. That makes it simple. Okay, so you offer these kayaking tours, and then you mentioned different levels.
Yes.
So I do. I have a family of 4. I got 2 kids. I want to go kayaking, but I'm nervous about my 15-year-old or my 18-year-old. Or like, is it safe? How's that going to work? Explain to me what a trip looks like from the moment, let's say a local decides to drive out and raft with you, or if a tourist showed up and called you and said, cool, come pick us up at our hotel. Okay. What does a tour look like from the moment you come pick them up at the hotel, and walk me through what it looks like, what a day looks like?
Sure. So we try to cater to people who, obviously we could cater to locals too. Sometimes a local crowd is more of a do-it-yourself crowd, but people that are flying in from other places or the normal tourists that you would imagine, we try to cater so that they don't need to bring much. All they need to do is like step out of their hotel room door or meet us at the pickup location, and we'll take it from there. So we provide all the equipment, all the safety equipment, but basically we'd pick them up at their hotel, drive them back to our location, and we have a fully stocked retail store in Boulder City. So we have anything that you could need for your trip, whether it's summer and you want to buy a hat, some sunscreen, tank tops, maybe your own PFD, your own life vest, or any little souvenirs that you want to buy. We have restrooms and there's food and stuff nearby. And so we take them there, get them checked in. Then we transport everybody down towards the checkpoint where we have to meet the park service, and there's a little orientation and some check-in process that happens before we drive to the base of the dam. So that would be one place that we would go. If you're talking about your family specifically.
Yeah. So let me back that up and just recap that real quick. So you pick me up from the hotel from the Strip, you put me in a vehicle. How long of a drive to Boulder City? 30 minutes?
Oh, sometimes only 20.
Okay.
It's not very far.
Great.
Yeah.
So 20 or 30 minutes to Boulder City, stop by the shop, get prepared, then take off to Lower Portal Road.
Yes.
Which is a secret road.
Yes.
That you get to go down. Like level 2 security,
it's
White House clearance.
One of the steepest roads in the country.
One of the steepest roads. It's like really cool to experience.
Super cool.
On the tour down to it, you get to see all kinds of things. Bighorn sheep. Old dynamite facilities.
Yes.
Right?
Historic parts
historic
used
stuff?
in the construction of the Hoover Dam.
And when you come around the last corner, you get to look up
at some big concrete thing.
Like a bridge.
Yeah. Oh, and the bridge too.
Yeah.
I forgot about the bridge.
And the bridge.
Yeah. And there's some big concrete thing called the Hoover Dam that's kind of cool.
Kind of cool.
Yeah.
So you get to see that from like the bottom up. That's like the coolest part of it. And like the first section of your tour before you even got on the kayak or got on the raft, you get to see things that people don't ever get to see. Okay.
Yeah.
So we show up at the dam. We get to feel the enormity of Hoover Dam. We're getting down to the base of it. Now what happens?
So it's a little bit of chaos, honestly, at the base of the dam, because we're in a secure area. I mean, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but that area is the same level as a level 1 federal security zone. So they monitor it. There's cameras everywhere. They give us a short period of time to get on the water. And sometimes people bring too much gear. And so it's a little bit of chaos. But we get everybody out of the vehicles. They've already got their life vests on. They've been fitted for life vests, and we've already kind of gone over the safety instructions. And we haul all the boats down to the water, get people in the boats, take some selfies in front of the dam. Kind of, we call it rafting up, but basically all the kayaks, canoes, anything that anyone's paddling, kind of just get together and hold on to each other. And we take some pictures in front of the dam and go over, sort of like, honestly, have like a little decompression.
Okay.
Like, okay, the chaos is over. Let's take a little breather. Yeah. Everybody breathe in, take a moment, look around, look at the canyon, look at the walls, see where you are, soak it in. And then we like begin the trip. Like we set our intentions for the trip, and then we enjoy the day. So it's a little bit of chaos to start with, followed by
and then you bring them into the experience.
Day. Yeah.
Then you bring into the experience. So then you're ready. And this can be a day trip. I've also heard it could be more than a day trip.
Yeah, so that's probably one of the things that sets us apart that we specialize in is multi-day trips. And so we, that's like my passion on the rivers is multi-day trips, like sometimes as many as 30 days. So it's in my own private time. Like that's my passion. Yeah. So I love to do multi-day river trips. So that's something our company kind of specializes in.
Okay.
Yeah, we provide all the camping equipment, sleeping pads, sleeping bags, pillows, tents, all the cooking equipment, mess kits, full commercial kitchen on the river.
And all of your guides are certified in safety.
Yeah, so that's one of the reasons I wanted to leave my first job was just because some things happened. And I mean, the person, you know, it wasn't my business, and I wanted to make some changes, safety related changes, and we didn't quite see eye to eye. And I actually had like a really scary experience as a guide, and I just decided that, I mean, that was probably the catalyst for me to start my own company. It was that I wanted to work someplace that had more training, more safety training, and more safety resources like satellite phones, first aid kits, like major first aid kits, not just like the $10 one you buy at Walmart, like major first aid kits with stuff that you could, like an EMT would use. And so like all of our guides carry major first aid kits. All of our vehicles have first aid kits in them because sometimes our guides stop like at a roadside emergency that doesn't have anything to do with our company, but they saw
other
a car
people
wreck.
out there. Yeah.
And so they've had to respond to those things. We do a lot of training at our business. So our guides are highly trained. We teach CPR, like we have CPR instructors on staff, AED instructors, wilderness first aid instructors.
Don't you come and teach our company and our raft pilots?
We do.
I believe you do.
We do.
Yes, you do.
Yeah. So we do a lot of training. Yeah. And so the safety aspect, all the safety equipment is provided. Our guides, most of our guides are wilderness first responders. Yes. Which the park only requires wilderness first aid, which is 16 to 20 hours of training. Wilderness first responder is 80. It's a lot more in depth of a class.
So 100% safe. Take my family from the Strip or from anywhere.
I would never say
100% safe. The intention is 100% safety.
We try to minimize the risks as much as possible.
Of course. Yeah. Well, you're outdoors. You're in nature.
Yeah, so it's inherently risky.
You're on the wild Colorado River. So let's talk about this for a second. Okay. So you're on the Colorado River. You're at the base of Hoover Dam. There's a lot of history to it, right? It's literally called taming the Colorado River as part of building the dam, right? So they can stop the floodwaters. So you're on this river. It's calm now, but it's still a river, and it flows, and the water's cold, 54 degrees year-round.
54, 56, somewhere in there.
And it's the most peaceful thing to go down this river. But you also, as peaceful it is, outside the piece of what it is, the nature, the flora, the fauna, all of the different. Talk to me about some of the beauties of the canyon that you can see while you're there.
Well, Native Americans lived in the area for, like at Willow Beach specifically, it was a trading post for 1,400 years. So there are a lot of artifacts in the canyon that you can find. There are a lot of petroglyphs, Native American rock art. The geology is amazing. Like if you're into geology, the rock and just the surrounding area, just in Lake Mead National Recreation Area, the geology is amazing. There's a lot of natural hot springs down there. So people like to soak in those. Slot canyons are amazing. So if you like hiking, there's some narrow canyons where like you can just put your hands out and touch each side of the wall while you're hiking. It's really amazing.
What are the 3 or 4 hiking canyons that are down there? Do you mind naming those? I think there's 3 or 4
Do
or 2.
I have to name
No,
them?
you don't have to.
What if I don't want to?
I can't remember them. I know there's
so
Boy Scout Canyon.
The major ones that everybody goes to is Gold Strike Canyon.
Gold Strike Canyon.
Yep, that's a major one with hot springs. I would say that one is a more strenuous technical canyon for hiking. It's definitely if you have families with small children, I probably would not recommend that canyon.
Got it. Okay.
There's some scrambling. There's some sections that have some rope-assisted descents and ascents. And so if you're nervous about heights or anything, it can be a little sketchy. So just be careful. I just put that little caveat out there in case people were like, oh, I'm going to go do that. So it can be kind of sketchy. The other one is Boy Scout Canyon, which is very more difficult to get to from outside the canyon than most of these side canyons. The one that other people hike in is called White Rock Canyon, which leads to Arizona Hot Springs. That one is more beginner friendly. So if you have...
Is that the one you park on the freeway?
Yes.
Off to the side, just past the dam, about 2-3 miles?
Yeah, mile marker 4-ish.
Okay, I've never hiked it.
Yeah.
Passed by it a lot, never hiked it.
It's like mile marker 4, I think the parking lot is. Yes, and so people hike down there.
So when you take the canyon, when you take a kayak down the canyon, can I do a kayak or a canoe? Can I choose?
Yeah, you can pick whatever you want. We also have stand-up paddle boards.
Stand-up paddleboard, so I can stand-up paddleboard, kayak, canoe.
Yeah.
Also, can I do tandem or single?
You can do a divorce boat if you want. That's fine.
Fair enough. Is it safe to swim in the river at all times?
We try to swim in areas where there's not strong currents, but yeah, we wear life vests all the time while we're on the water. So, and we have safety ropes that we can throw. But yeah, we usually find places that there's not a lot of strong current, but yeah, you can swim. Sure.
All right. Perfect. So then it ends down at Willow Beach after a tour?
If you're going to do a day tour, yes, that would end at Willow Beach. If you're doing a multi-day tour, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, it could go further downstream. So it just depends on what your trip is.
We could go all the way down to like Davis Dam or something.
You could. We don't do that one as often, but we often do down to El Dorado Canyon, which is about another 13 miles or so. So total mileage would be like 25 miles roughly.
Cool. Then you could get out, take a van up, go in the gold mine, see $1 million worth of gold.
That's exactly what we do.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's exactly what we do on our tours. We do the mine tour down there.
The family's name down there again.
The Whirlies.
Whirlies.
And they're amazing people.
They really are.
They're wonderful people.
Salt of the
we
earth.
have a great working relationship with them. So
good. All right. So awesome. So you could end at multiple places and then you head back to Vegas. Do you operate 365 days a year?
Not quite. I think like 362 or maybe 3. We're closed on the same days that the National Park Service is closed because we can't access the Hoover Dam, but we usually close on Christmas and Thanksgiving, so our employees can go spend time with their families mostly, and then I think New Year's Day. So Christmas, New Year's Day, I think Easter is the other
Thanksgiving
one.
maybe.
Oh, Thanksgiving. So Christmas, New Year's Day, and Thanksgiving. Those are the 3 days we're closed.
Other than that, you're running.
Every day.
Nice.
Yep.
How many people can you launch at the base of Hoover Dam per day?
So that's a little tricky.
You personally.
Yeah. So everyone pulls from the same pool of. So you have to get a permit to launch from the dam.
Right.
The way you get a permit, you don't just like go to a website and buy it. You have to basically call an outfitter. So the park, because it's a secure zone, you have to call an outfitter and then they help you buy your permit. But the permits, they only allow 45 paddlecraft to launch per day. So you could technically take more people than 45 if you had boats that held more than one person. So it just kind of depends on the
Kind of
mix.
depends. So, but it really is, I guess I would say for the audience here, if they're watching this, the general public, it really is a treat to get to launch at the base of Hoover Dam.
It's pretty amazing.
Right, so if you think 45 people a day, calculate that over 100 days, 4,500 people. So 9,000, 15,000. What is that? 15,000 people annually? It's not a ton.
Yeah. No, it's not. It's actually, I told somebody how many people we took out one year, and they're like, how did, we were at a Christmas party, and they were like, how did you afford this party? That's the amount of people you took out. Like, well, it's a very, the resource is protected. They do that to protect the resource and not have our impact be so huge that it degrades the resource. So
yeah, let's talk about that a little bit. You've been doing this for a long time. I would say that not only have you been doing this for a long time, but I want to talk about some kudos. This Nevada adventure guide just came out, and I'll probably post a little bit of it.
I can't wait to look at it.
This is beautiful. They did a little spot UV and some foil. I mean, they just made a beautiful piece. When you go through this, it actually mentions and calls out the Black Canyon, but it doesn't call it the Black Canyon as the Black Canyon. It calls it out as something that I believe you worked on. Do you remember what that was?
Oh, the Lower Colorado River Water Trail.
Can you tell me a little bit about,
the National Water Trail.
They called it the Black Canyon Water Trail.
Yes.
But I know that you know what it is. So can you tell me a little bit about what that was, how it came about, what it is? I think it's interesting.
Sure. It was actually, the idea for it was actually started by Jim Holland, who helped work on the River Mountain bike trail and hiking trail. And so the park and the federal government had this program for water trails, and it was at the beginning of it, and he had this idea that he wanted to like put together something so that we could apply to be a water trail. So that's how it kind of started, and I knew him from just working in the industry there at the dam. And so he put together this basically like this coalition of local people, local paddlers, local businesses, chamber representatives, park partners, Bureau of Reclamation partners, Hoover Dam partners. And so we all got together, and it took a long time. There was a lot of work that went into it, like years of work. And we submitted the proposal, and it got approved. And it became a national water trail. So
what is
pretty amazing.
It really is. And congratulations on having that. What does that mean to anybody though? Like, what do you get for it being a national water trail? Now, granted, I will say I just noticed that you got listed by Travel Nevada in their travel book as the water trail. So if it isn't just for notoriety that we're something special, it worked in that aspect because my company's not listed in there. There's yours.
That's funny.
But the Black Canyon Water Trail is. Okay.
Yeah.
So other than like some notoriety on a state level or something like that, are there any other benefits that come with that? Do you know of?
So the water trail does a lot of, they do a lot of work with grant writing and with grants and trying to get youth out in nature, in the outdoors, and just experiencing something other than a classroom setting. Yep. And so we've written grants and gotten money to take inner city youth out, like any ages really. We've done all kinds of school trips with kids, field trips. Right. We've had people come out and show them rocks in the river and pick up rocks and look at the little bugs on the underside of them and talk about the algae and invasive species and the water conservation. So trying to get kids excited about science and nature and the outdoors and bringing their families out and putting them in the kayaks and letting them just tool around in the water and play and squirt each other with squirt guns. And so it gets them excited about nature. Right. And so that's what the water trail kind of is focused on. But as far as what you get from it or get because we became a water trail, probably some increased signage, a cool water trail map that's waterproof. It's great for actually using as a map, but also a great souvenir. And
it's the best map ever. You know, I took it out, I blew it up, I put it on the back of the door.
I was kind of jealous. I was like, I wish I had wall space for that.
I created a door wrap out of it. It's actually a product we should like make and sell.
We really
put on the
should.
back of a door.
Well, maybe we should.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay.
So you said that you're available to get grant writing. So,
yes.
So hold on. So if we went to the state and said we want to take 10,000 kids out on this river water trail, that allows us to go get grant writing because it's like a federally recognized water trail and it has an educational purpose or some sort of STEM purpose to it?
So yes, so the Lower Colorado River Water Trail Alliance is the group that put all of this together. They're under a 501c3 umbrella. And so, so they're able to write grants, and then the money can be used to support local businesses and also get kids out on the water, or families or people that don't normally get that exposure to the outdoors. And so we've worked with local companies like the rafting company and local paddling companies. And so it gains other local companies exposure, and it also gets people on the water. So it's a good partnership.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. How many companies are there like you that are able to operate this area? That was an excellent answer. We're done now. We're not even going any further.
Yeah.
I love you for that so much. It's the reason why you're here. So you're very respected in the community out there in Boulder City.
Oh, thank you.
I've known you for quite a few years now, and I know my father has a lot of respect for you as well. And
it goes both ways. I respect him.
He's a challenging person to gain the respect of. I promise you that. He's a man of integrity. So this year, was it a good year this year, an okay year? Are you excited about next year? Is there anything?
I'm so excited about next year.
Okay.
Yeah. It was an okay year.
Okay.
It probably wasn't a great year for us. Maybe for another company, it would have been a great year. But I feel like during the pandemic, when Nevada was closed, but Arizona was still open, you just have to go across that bridge to get to Arizona. So it's not very far. So there used to only be like maybe 5 or 6 companies. Now there's over 30. So it's kind of crazy.
So the natural resource is being challenged, and there's probably some adjustments that will be made into the future, I'm assuming. Yeah.
So my only point to that was that during the pandemic, business was crazy good.
Yeah.
And then it has kind of tapered off a little bit.
Got it.
But I am super stoked for next year. We have some stuff in the works that I think should be really fun. Nice. And yeah.
Where do you have Facebook socials? You promote all your stuff? What's your favorite social or your best?
Oh man.
Is Instagram your go-to?
So originally, most people were on Facebook. So that's probably our biggest one, just because that's where most of our followers originated. But I prefer Instagram. I like photos and imagery and videos. I like Instagram. We just started a little TikTok account. So it's more it's a newer social for us, a newer social media outlet for us, so we're working on it. It's not great yet, but Facebook, Instagram are pretty good.
Do you want the trick to TikTok?
Yeah, sure.
Pick 3 of your guides.
Okay.
And every time some new trend comes on, have them do it on the river, on kayaks, on rocks, and I promise you will be extremely successful.
Okay, I'll try it.
That's the trick. But they have to be down to dance and do the trends.
Okay.
I watch it happen continuously.
Okay.
It's quite funny.
Okay.
But doing it in a place where nobody else can do it. Totally win.
That's a good idea.
Totally gonna win.
Okay.
You're gonna win TikTok.
I'm gonna win the internet. Okay, I'm gonna do it.
All right. Is there anything we didn't talk about that you would want to talk about?
I don't know.
No?
I mean, this is your show, so
no, it's your
I'm
show.
here for you.
No, it's your show.
Not really.
Okay,
I mean,
cool.
I would love people to come kayaking. I want people to know that there's water here in the desert, and that we offer great experiences. So if you're looking to come out, then we would love to facilitate that.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. That is Izzy Collett from Desert Adventures. Don't forget the name. Google it and TikTok it and Instagram it and Facebook it and do whatever you want. Thanks, everybody. See you next time.